welcome to When to Use Analytics, EPM, and Essbase and how they are better all together. As I'm going through, you can ask questions in the Q&A. There is a resource panel kind of down there towards the bottom. Feel free to type in whatever your question is. We will answer some of those as we go along, but anything that we have left at the end, we will do some live Q&A, so please stick around, ask lots of questions, and some of them might be of general interest to everybody, so looking forward to that. My name is Edward Roske, and as CEO here at interRel Consulting, I've been helping companies deal with uncertainty for over 25 years. The key to successfully managing things in uncertain times, or those really rare times when things aren't changing, is information. At interRel, we believe in learning things and passing them on. We feel that the secret to success is to take information and pass it on to the right people at the right time so that they can make better business decisions faster. We're here today to talk about how Essbase and EPM, Enterprise Performance Management, can be used together under that umbrella of analytics. How those technologies, which are all interRel has done since our founding, can be used together. I'd like to get an idea of what products everybody is using. So there's a poll that's appearing on your screen that asks you if you're using Essbase currently or Oracle EPM or Oracle Analytics. What we'll be covering over the course of this presentation is how we can use the best parts of each one and not trying to assume that because we have a hammer, everything must be a nail. What we're going to talk first is about the destination, because any system we create, we can't lose sight of the end. What will I be doing with this information? What questions am I trying to answer? If I had that data, would it lead me to a different physical action, or would it lead me to a deeper question? Once we figured out what those reporting and analysis needs are, we should be able to easily connect it to multidimensional data, which we're going to store in Essbase. Maybe it's financial data stored in Oracle Enterprise Performance Management. Maybe it's relational data, and Oracle Analytics can help us bring that together. The key thing is to know when to use each portions of those data bits behind the scenes. The key to presenting it all is definitely going to be Oracle Analytics, but we're going to talk about why it's important to use all of these to get that right information to those right people. So at a high level, we have to realize how important cloud is to today's sharing of information. It used to be data was stored in various siloed systems so that we had some information that was kept in an on-premise legacy database, and something else was kept in a metering system, and something else was kept in someone's copy of Excel or someone's copy of Access. Nowadays, all that information can more easily be shared because we share it in the cloud. And the cloud is not an afterthought that each department has to decide if I will be using it or not. It's really like electricity. And once we all have it, we will never look back. It's going to be that key enabling technology that's going to help us deliver that right information to the right people. We want to make sure that anything we're doing, if we're going to stay competitive in this changing time, is a leading practice so that we're not out trying to link things together with the duct tape of business Microsoft Excel or trying to manually plumb things, that we are following key integration, key reporting, key analysis sharing techniques. Because at the end of the day, data is our new gold. It's what we need to make sure we deliver the right information to those right people. To do that, the key is a combination of different Oracle solutions. We need analytics because this is our presentations. This is where all of our information gets directly shared with our end users. We also need enterprise performance management because this is where a lot of our data is generated. While we might be able to talk to a relational system to get sales information or to get GL financial information, EPM is really our planning locations, our consolidation locations, our profit location, kind of anything above that bottom level. Anytime we want to generate summary information, EPM is that place we're going to do it. But we also have to be able to realize there is a lot of relational transactional information and how we can use the best of each one. Well, the good news, Oracle makes the best database out there. We can all agree. They have the best analytics platform in terms of talking to that database, but also talking to EPM, and they are by far the market leader in the EPM space. We're going to start talking about first today is analytics. This goes back to what I said earlier about designing with the end in mind. What are we going to do with this information? Well, there are a couple of different places we can get this data in the Oracle Analytics world. If we want to go, hey, we're a modern company, we shouldn't be building out data centers, we're probably going with a full cloud model. So we would immediately assume all analytic information we want to consume is going to be in that cloud type environment. If, on the other hand, we say, well, we really haven't moved away from our data centers yet, we really just want to stick with on-prem for the next few months, you also do have the option on the right, which is Oracle Analytics Server. The option in the middle for analytics is for pre-built, where we might go with Oracle General Ledger on the cloud, Fusion Cloud, ERP Cloud, and we don't want to have to go custom build our analytics. We say, just give me whatever dashboard you've already created that talks to that information. When you're doing that kind of pre-built integrated analytics right on the Oracle Cloud, that's called Oracle Analytics for Applications. But the key thing is that if there's ever any information that you want to get to somebody, it doesn't matter how they want to consume it, they should be able to see it. So you've got some people that say, well, maybe I want it in a spreadsheet type environment because I'm an analyst that goes and digs into the details. Or I'm a business person, I really just want a list of reports. Or I'm a key decision maker and I want a dashboard, a heads up cockpit. Or maybe I'm out in the field and I want a mobile device. Or maybe I just need information communicated to me and I want the system not to show me complicated reports and charts, but tell me in natural language, tell me a story about my data. Doesn't matter how you want to consume it, Oracle Analytics is that glue that holds all that together. It can provide any of those interfaces. But the key thing is that we have to have one single version of the truth. So no matter how we're consuming that information, we always get the exact same number, whether it's dashboards, reporting, self-service, mobile, natural language storytelling. And that's also the power of analytics, is to go out to data that is in EPM or data that's in Essbase, or maybe it's in an ERP or a data warehouse, and just bring it all together in one nice common presentation layer. The real goal that we're driving towards is self-service. Gone are the days when somebody can make a request of somebody and then expect to wait 2 weeks to get the information back again. It's now a matter of the second I ask the question, I need the answer because it will lead me to a deeper question. And I need that answer, which will lead me to a deeper question. So we have to make sure the data is available and it's curated so that it's impossible to get the wrong answers, but it's nice, well structured, and easy to navigate. So that when I pull information up, what it appears to mean is exactly what it means, so that I can go off and make those better business decisions. So if we are designing with the end in mind, we're not focusing on how that information is going to look, because we don't know what an end user, what format they might want to see it in. What we're concerned with is the information accurate? Is it easy to consume? As I start drilling down, does the information keep making more and more sense? So it doesn't require tribal knowledge to pull all that together. So good news with Oracle Analytics, I'm able to deliver all of that, which begs the question, where's the data coming from? And that's really where we get into EPM and where we get into Essbase. So I assume all of you understand the value of coordinating information. We must have accurate reports, we must have really easy to understand analytics. But now where do I go get all that? EPM is where I'm going to be storing all of my financial information, everything that FP&A needs to govern. Anytime I want to model, plan, report, analyze all that financial information in one common place, that is the value of Oracle EPM. In an ideal EPM process, you would be doing things like strategic discussions. What should the direction of my company look like? Financial understanding, helping generate that plan and then commit to a plan. Gathering all kinds of data and then being able to take that information and share it with the other people who need it and then analyzing it. Now, while there are some pre-built income statements and financial reports, balance sheet that might come with EPM, I often nowadays need to combine that with other sources of information. So instead of showing someone just an income statement, I want to say for your department, what are the expenses per person? So what do those headcount drivers actually look like? So if I have two departments that are spending about the same, the department doing better is the one that has more people. Because they're able to do less with the same amount of people versus another department that is spending at the same level but just has a single person in it. So how do I combine that? How do I take that relational data and combine it with EPM data? Well, that's going to be within Oracle Analytics. So what kind of data could I consume from an Oracle EPM world? Well, we have it on your screen right now as Oracle EPM Enterprise. Now, when Oracle started off in EPM Cloud, it started out the way a lot of cloud vendors did, where it was a series of separate disconnected products. You went to one place to do your planning, another place to do your close, another place to do your profitability. Over the last 7+ years, those products have come together into one integrated suite. So now you don't go off and buy a separate standalone account reconciliation product or a separate place to go do all of your tax provisioning and reporting. You now just buy Oracle EPM Enterprise. And when you do, it gives you everything you see in that entire middle layer. That layer up at the top where you see ad hoc, you see things like narration, reporting, mobile, XBRL, that is enhanced with the power of Oracle Analytics. So I can take that plan and I can combine it with other data that's outside. So some of you say, well, we are using right now Oracle Analytics. Why should I be off buying EPM? We're getting that done in Excel. Keep in mind, Excel was never meant to be a communications vehicle. It was meant to be a viewer to grids of information that you want to see in a one-off fashion. It was essentially created to be an ad hoc place to calculate information. So if you ever wondered why it's so difficult to share information in an Excel spreadsheet, most people will print it out or they'll email a copy, and then we have who knows how many versions out there. We'll try and drop it in a share and hope everybody uses that share link and doesn't do save as. It's because it wasn't meant to be a cross-departmental way of sharing information. It wasn't meant to go out and spread that information with everybody that needs it. Also, Excel really answers the ad hoc question it was created to understand. It wasn't designed so that I can go drill in and see another level deep, or so I can drag and drop information from the rows to the columns or toss something in from the pages. It wasn't meant to be a place to combine multiple sources of information. It also wasn't meant to be a place where I could easily map data back and forth. Every one of those was why EPM was created. EPM was designed to share that information with every department that might need it. EPM was created to provide those analysis, those understanding the why questions behind. EPM was created assuming you're not going to have all of your data in one place. Even if it's all in Oracle, it might be coming from an Oracle data warehouse and Oracle ERP and Oracle supply chain and human capital. So even if you were fully committed to the Oracle Red Stack, you still need one common place to bring that information together, and you can do that in the power of EPM. And mapping, let's say we do have a one-off general ledger or a one-off legacy data source we're pulling in. We want to map that into one common place, and EPM has the power to do that right within the product. So if we're using EPM, we moved outside of Excel. The question is, what about the information that might be non-financial? What about that information that's definitely rows and columns? It's something that seems to fit well in Excel, but seems to break Excel, where I seem to be trying to cram 3 to 15 dimensions into an Excel spreadsheet, and a spreadsheet was designed to hold 2, something in the rows, something in the columns, maybe something in the pages. If you really want to be analyzing data like that, where you're going to get beyond those simple 2-dimensional type interfaces of a spreadsheet, that's when we get to Essbase. And quite simply, Essbase was designed to be an extended spreadsheet database. That's what Essbase stands for. It's a database for spreadsheet information. It is not meant to be a relational database. It's not meant to be records and fields. It's meant to store categories. It's meant to store dimensions, ways of drilling down. So if you think about something like an income statement, well, that is an account hierarchy that we would store in Essbase. But you might want to see that income statement with accounts down the side, but going across the top of your report, you might want to see time periods, where you might want to see scenarios going across the top. So when I'm analyzing all that data, that's what Essbase was created to do. It was the world's first cube technology. So what we have to realize is there are times when we have relational data where it's literally just transactional. This is a row, these are columns, or these are records, and these are fields. That is not meant to be in an Essbase type world. That is meant to be in a relational type database. So why do so many people love Excel as an interface on top of Essbase? Because Excel can give you that slice. It can give you that 2-dimensional view of what that Essbase data looks like. So if you think of it, when I'm analyzing multidimensional stuff, I might want to look at it on an income statement. I might want to put accounts on the side and time across the top. That's just one slice of an Essbase database. So you'll quite often see Essbase beloved by finance, by accounting, by FP&A, because they live in Excel all day long, but they know it makes a lousy database, horrible place to store business logic. They just want a database for that information from Excel. That's where Essbase fits in. One of the things that Essbase does better than really any other cube technology out there in the world is it supports unbalanced hierarchies. It says, I'm probably not going to have as many levels beneath revenue as I do beneath expenses. That's very hard to represent in a relational database. A lot of BI tools have a problem with it. Essbase doesn't. And one of the really nice things is Oracle Analytics can use that knowledge of Essbase, that understanding that you don't always want to drill as far into one dimension as you do into another one. It can leverage the power of those two together. Essbase has been around since 1992. It has the most powerful multidimensional calculation language in the world. And what's really nice is that it was designed to be administered by business people. It's not like you need an advanced degree in IT or a master's degree in maintaining relational databases. Most of the people that are administering Essbase applications are people who are Excel power users. They are CPAs or power users in finance or financial analysts or controllers or vice presidents of FP&A. And it's really easy to control who can see what information all the way down to a cell level. Traditionally, if you wanted to build an Essbase cube, it was a standalone technology. You had to go stand up an Essbase database. And because people loved it so much, they really wanted that awesome database for spreadsheet information, they would learn Essbase enough to go stand it up. Here's one of the fun things nowadays is you can do that standalone Essbase without having to go create it yourself, because Essbase, full use Essbase, freeform Essbase access is now available inside of EPM Cloud Enterprise. So if you buy that EPM Cloud portion, you can leverage its pre-built application portion, the traditional way that we think about EPM, but you can also utilize that cube technology, the ability to build those Essbase applications. The magic that makes that work is called freeform planning. So we have a lot of customers that historically have had a separate Essbase instance and EPM instance that are now bringing it together. And one of the really awesome things about EPM Cloud is that you can take those applications, you can export the outlines, the hierarchies, what are called OTL files. You can export those out, go up to Oracle EPM Enterprise, import them in, and you have an actual full-blown Essbase cube with all the really amazing power of Essbase. So a lot of companies say historically, oh, I have Essbase, but I don't have EPM, or I have EPM, but I don't have analytics on top. What you have to realize is the value of bringing all those together. EPM Cloud is excellent if every single person is in finance, but you have to realize you have a whole lot of customers out there that are consuming information, that want to look at data that might not be inside of the finance department. For instance, every cost center manager, every profit center manager in your company needs to understand that financial information about their department. So within that group, if we want to distribute all of that out, we might not want to make all of them users in EPM Cloud just to log in and see what their finances are. We might say, all you really need is just a simple report, or all you need is a little heads up dashboard about your department. We can do that by taking the power of Oracle Analytics and snapping it onto EPM Cloud. As I said before, nowadays you might want to take additional data sources. We might want to take some information that's out of EPM and combine it with headcount information, or take my expense information, combine it with who my vendors actually are. Or maybe I want to take my human resource information and put it together with my profitability information, find out who are my employees that are making me the most money, who are the ones that are actually costing money. We can do all that within that power of analytics. So what we have to understand is there's some information that is flat, there's some information that's hierarchical, but if I can bring all of those together, I can use Oracle Analytics to be that unifying umbrella, that presentation layer that everybody uses. If we pause for a second and think about the future, we want to be able to get all of our data in some place that not just humans can analyze it, but also the power of the computers themselves. Data is growing exponentially. The amount of information on Earth is doubling right now about every 2 years. Humans can't keep up with that. We can't double our capacity to analyze information every single 2 years. What we can do, though, is with Oracle Analytics, if we take that Essbase data, the relational data, the EPM data, we bring it all together, Oracle Analytics can actually use the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning to be analyzing that information 24/7. And then it's just a matter of how we explain it to everybody. One of the things I really like is the data visualization that comes with Oracle Analytics, because it helps me tell a story where the artificial intelligence, the AI, the machine learning goes and finds all the exceptions to the data. It finds the trends and finds the root causes and finds all these things are related to each other. And then it tells a story that I can analyze easily in data visualization. So I can see those trends. I can really understand how it all works. Essbase and Oracle Analytics and Oracle EPM are more powerful together, and they've been coming closer and closer together over the years. If I think of analytics as my top layer, that's where I'm going to look at those reports, where I'm going to integrate with Office, where I'm going to do my analysis, my AI, my ML for machine learning. Maybe it's mobile, maybe it's more detect and alert, where it goes and looks through my data and says, hey, you should be aware that your profitability is dropping and all of that. At the top analytics layer, when it sits beneath it, whether it sits on Essbase directly or Essbase inside of Oracle EPM, every one of those applications is also using the power of Essbase. So when I'm doing that analysis and I'm analyzing financial consolidation, it says, Financial data is best represented in an Essbase cube, so that's where it's actually storing it. When I'm doing tax analysis or planning or strategic workforce or sales planning or profitability, it's all Essbase behind the scenes. But the nice part about you as a business user, the person going in and consuming that information, is when you're at that top layer up there, it doesn't matter if it's directly EPM, it doesn't matter if it's a relational source, it doesn't matter if it's EPM sitting on top of Essbase, it knows how to go out and find all of that information. Because at the end of the day, there are some cases where we wanted to control that Essbase cube, where we want EPM to just manage all that information. There are other cases where we want to go off and build a specialized cube, some common place where we might want to load gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes of information, and we want that responses information to come back in sub-seconds. So there might be specialized cubes that aren't generated in that EPM world. There might be standardized reports that I want to create, and I want to do them in Oracle Analytics and let the report sift out what the data source is underneath. At the end of the day, I want to get people out of those standardized reports. I want them asking the bigger, better, badder, bolder questions to go in and look at that information that's all been curated, but do it in a self-service way, where they're asking harder questions that the report designer never actually thought of. And nowadays, it has to be device anywhere. As the last few months have proven to us, we are not all commonly sitting together in an office at a desktop anymore. Whether we are hashtag WFH, working from home, whether we are wandering around in our neighborhood, whether we are out visiting a client, or whether we're at the office, all of the information needs to be consumable in the same way. One of the amazing powers of Oracle Analytics is any report you build, any dashboard you create, any analysis you come up with, you build it once and it's device anywhere, whether I'm looking at it on an iPhone or an Android or a tablet or a laptop or a desktop, it's that same common information. Because at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is handle any reporting need that comes up. Now, the key thing to realize is it's not a matter of saying, well, I own Oracle Analytics as my reporting tool. Therefore, I should cram every possible thing into a table so Oracle Analytics can consume it. It's a matter of realizing that different things work for different reasons. So I'm going to go back into EPM when I want to come up with a new plan, or I want to do some consolidations or some eliminations or some adjustments. I want to pull that data together. Different users are going to need to consume data in different ways. Sometimes you have people that are going to want a nice dashboard. Other times you're going to want people that just really want a list of reports and changing a few drop downs. Rather than insist everyone has to use exact same dashboard, or everyone has to use exact same report, the key is to use a product in Oracle Analytics and Oracle EPM that supports all of those needs. So if your need is static reporting, I just want to see some canned information, you can do that. If you want to drill through, you can do that. If you want to see some context, some language, some words along with your numbers, you can do that through narrative reporting. You can do ad hoc analysis, and all of it is supported through the power of Oracle Analytics, Essbase, and EPM. I saw at the beginning that some of you said we use analytics and Essbase, but we don't need EPM. If you really want a common place to do all of your planning, your forecasting, your modeling, you really need to be looking at EPM. If you want the industry standard for more than 20 years, the best place that everyone agrees to consolidate your data, do your eliminations, your adjustments, your plan, your profitability, your tax reporting, do it inside of an EPM world. And if you're still doing consolidation and close in one-off technologies, you're trying to speed it up, maybe get to the point of virtual close, EPM is going to give you all of that power. And then you can consume it with the tools you're familiar with, analytics and Essbase. Let's say you are EPM and Essbase, and you say, well, why would I need analytics? There are a couple of pre-built reports in EPM, and for what I don't have, I can do spreadsheet analysis in Excel on top of Essbase. It's about self-service. One of the key things about Oracle Analytics is I don't have to pre-build every possible report and assume if you don't have it, you're double-clicking in Excel. I can make it easy in a graphical web-based format to go visualize and analyze that information. The ability to generate far more charting, far more graphical ways of looking that you can ever conceive of are there in analytics. People that live in an EPM Essbase world don't realize what's happening right now with artificial intelligence, with machine learning, but all those modern business intelligence features, all that thought leadership is coming from that analytics team. And if I want to take in data that is not financial, if I want to take in stuff that isn't coming from EPM and Essbase, analytics is going to provide that. And then finally, if I have EPM and analytics, Why would I need Essbase? Because I need to have more data. I need to have one version of the truth, because I want to share it beyond finance, because I want to deeply analyze that information and do it in a multidimensional way. You don't want to be loading terabytes of data to your planning system. Focus your plan on making it as fast as possible to get new information in. Use Essbase to make it as fast as possible to get that information out. Good news, it's all Oracle. It is Oracle read from top to bottom. So it's really easy to connect all of these things across. So narrative reporting, if you want to give context, if you want to provide language and communicate about your data, it can connect to EPM Cloud, it can connect to Oracle Analytics, it can connect to Essbase on the cloud. Oracle Analytics can sit right on top of EPM, whether it's EPM on-prem or it's EPM Cloud or it's Essbase. Oracle Data Visualization can analyze all those data sources, and Essbase has even more ways to connect. One of the nice things that's coming up nowadays, I wish I had time to show it to you, but we're getting near the question portion. We have the ability to aim that data visualization right there up against Planning Cloud. So we can actually, without having to even pause, I can see real-time information in much more advanced, much more AI sort of fashion within Oracle Analytics than ever I could within EPM. So we have a lot of different ways we can do it. We can connect EPM to Essbase. We can connect Oracle Data Visualization back to EPM or back to Essbase. And one of the things I absolutely love that just showed up in June is we now have, through Oracle Analytics Cloud 5.6, a direct real-time live connector between Oracle Analytics Cloud and all that power of EPM Cloud, planning, financial consolidation, close, and tax reporting. When this analytics summit was back a few months ago, I had to talk about how that was coming. And now that we're actually in the month of June, I can talk about how it's here. So I don't have to safe harbor it at all. We now have direct access of Oracle Analytics Cloud to EPM Cloud. We can't go to Disney World right now, but I can at least quote Walt Disney. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So I'll quickly leave you with 5 last thoughts. If you walk away with nothing else before the Q&A, just remember these 5 things. Number 1, it's more powerful if you combine everything together. You'll get that self-service flexible reporting with flexible data sets. Number 2, it's easy to directly connect all these platforms together. Number 3, we have that nice, healthy ecosystem that takes the power of each one and uses it in the right ways. Leading edge, because it's Oracle Cloud, it just gets smarter every single month. So new functionality shows up. There's some amazing machine learning things that just showed up on Oracle Analytics Cloud that I thought were years off. The first time I saw them, it was indistinguishable from magic because it was that impressive. And they just showed up in the newest version of the cloud. And we have different ways of determining how we can actually license all this, because we might say, well, our core finance is going to be an EPM, but we're going to use Oracle Analytics to go for the rest of our organization broad. So thank you all for absorbing all this information over the last 25 minutes. I want to give you a place to go to for additional data. If you look right down there at the bottom in your resource section, we have a lot of additional links, a lot of additional places you can go to for information about analytics and other areas. And at this point, let's open it up for questions. Who has the first one?